ছাই সৎসঙ্গ দেখো কে আমারে, বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে, বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে, ছাই সৎসঙ্গ বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে, বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে, একাকী আমার নাহি পাই বল, হরিনাম সংকীর্তনে, একাকী তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া, তুমি কৃপা তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া, দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে, দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে, তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া, দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে, দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম, কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো, তোমার শক্তি আছে, কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো, তোমার শক্তি আছে, কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার আমি তো কাঙাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি, আমি তো আর আমি তো কাঙাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি, তাই তব পাছে পাছে, তাই তব পাছে পাছে, আমি তো কাঙাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি, তাই তব পাছে পাছে, তাই তব পাছে, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর, হে দাসে করুণা করি, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর আর দিয়া পদ ছায়া সদকে আমারে, দিয়া পদ ছায়া, তোমার চরণ ধরি, তোমার চরণ ধরি, আর দিয়া পদ ছায়া সদকে আমারে, তোমার চরণ ধরি, তোমার চরণ, দয়াল বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর, দয়াল বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর, বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়াল বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর, দয়াল বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর, বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর, বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর, দয়াল বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর। प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद, जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। করুণা কর বৈষ্ণব গোসাই, পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ নাই। এইবার করুণা কর বৈষ্ণব গোসাই, পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ। এইবার করুণা কর বৈষ্ণব গোসাই, পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ নাই। এইবার পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ। যাহার নিকটে গেলে পাপ দূরে যায়, যাহার নিকটে গেলে পাপ দূরে যায়, যাহার নিকটে গেলে পাপ দূরে যায়, যাহার এমন দয়াল প্রভু কে বা কোথা পায়, এমন দয়াল প্রভু কে বা কোথা। গঙ্গার পরশ হইলে পর্চাতে পাবন, গঙ্গার পরশ হইলে পর্চাতে পাবন। দর্শনে পবিত্র কর এই তোমার গুণ, দর্শনে পবিত্র কর এই তোমার। হরিস্থানে অপরাধে তারে হরির নাম, হরিস্থানে অপরাধে তারে হরির নাম, তোমার স্থানে सदा गोविंद विश्राम तुम्हारी दये सदा गोविंद विश्राम गोविंद कहे नमर वैष्णव परान गोविंद कहे नमर वैष्णव प्रति जन्मे करी आशा चरणेर धूली प्रति जन्मे करी आशा दयाल वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर दयाल वैष्णव ठाकुर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद
बताया कि मैं एक्सरसाइज करनी चाहिए, लेकिन हमारे पास
एक्सरसाइज कर रहा है,
हम सबको पता है
एक्सरसाइज कर रहा है।
श्रीमते भक्ति स्वामी नमस्ते शाश्वत देवे गौरवान प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य श्री प्रभुपाद की शंभु गोविंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे Krishna. So this evening, I'm supposed to speak on Srila Prabhupada. You want to take that on me? So how many of you were in the class this morning? Most of you, very good. So that when I'm so many wonderful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. And some of them are so hilarious, right? Srila Prabhupada's activities are so wonderful. So, very, very imagine that Srila Prabhupada is a very special personality. Have you ever come across anybody who, at the age of 70, started some activity without any money and became successful as a result? Did anybody ever come across any such personality? There are many great personalities, there are many great achievers in this world, but we can see that most of their achievements were in their youth. Only some politicians actually achieved something at the old age. But even when there was a politician who started his career at the age of 70, and then became a world-renowned personality due to his achievement. So this is what you can see. Just to begin with, Srila Prabhupada is such a unique personality. There is no one like Srila Prabhupada in the entire history of this world. And not only that, Srila Prabhupada started this movement at such an old age and achieved such success within such a short span of time. Just 10 years to spread the movement all over the world. Can you think of starting something with no money and become successful? Would you ever try anything? To do that money and become successful? No. But Srila Prabhupada, he started something without any money. When you mentioned Prabhupada went to America, did Srila Prabhupada have any money? Yes, I don't do it for 40 rupees. But can you change 30 rupees into dollars? No, rupees don't have any value till now actually. And that is because those days, rupees didn't have any value. Anyway, so, penniless, Srila Prabhupada went to America. And single-handedly started this Krishna consciousness movement and spread it all over the world. Once I was sitting at Srila Prabhupada's Lotus Feet in Bombay, in Buddhist Gardens, and a good question construction was going on. Bombay Temple was not complete. The construction was going on. And so Prabhupada was looking out of the window. And Prabhupada mentioned, I'm the richest man in the world. What's that? Silently sitting there. And Prabhupada said, not only money, all has 10,000 people at his beck and call. They're prepared to do anything for him. Each company has 10,000 employees. Any company goes there with anything. And nowadays, they have many proposals or industries or not, but the number of pointed out that they are at my beginning hall. And I'm not giving them any money, but they are only offering money to me. I'm sure the Prabhupada was going financially, but I'm sure to say so. I'm sure you can remember some, though you don't have to tell me their names. But at least in your mind you can think of them. Like, when they are here, they create quite a sensation. They have regular followers. But after they left, after they died, they are back into the institution. They went on one after another. Institutions disintegrated. Institution collapsed. And this personality is just, people have left them. Although they created some big sensation. I remember in mid-60s, early 70s, there was some spiritual personality in America. But big name, had thousands of followings, big establishments. But all your generation doesn't never even heard of their names. But in those, say, 50 years back, there were such powerful spiritual leaders. The mission is finished. The name is forgotten. However, what's happening in Sri Lanka's movement? ISKCON. Why ISKCON is expanding in such a way? Because the structure is going in such a way that ISKCON is continuing to spread Krishna consciousness Will it happen? Should Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Who should Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now everything is impossible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when the Supreme Personality of Godhead says something, can that go in vain? Can that go unfulfilled? But his power is inconceivable. Like this conceivable. We look at material nature, which was not there. We don't have a thought. The basic ingredient for creation, material nature. And the way material nature can manifest. It was no certain. Right? And as a result of that, what happens? Even when the universe is manifested. And all the universes are floating in space. All the wonderful that they are being maintained in such a wonderful way. In this material nature, in the world around us, in nature, do you see any discord or disharmony? Everything is so perfect, right? The sun comes up exactly at a certain time. Moon comes up, sun sets, moon sets. Moon goes through waxing and waning period. Then, along with that, all these wonderful things happen. Right? Through the rays of the sun, from ocean, the water is evaporated. Sun heat makes the ocean water evaporate. And that forms a cloud. Right? And the cloud is dispersed all over by the wind. And wind comes out in the form of rain. What are the reasons of water supply arrangements? In any way, wherever we see such perfect arrangement. And it's all being done by Krishna's glance. And how Krishna's glance works? Krishna looks for the material nature. Then Krishna's glance actually becomes Lord Shiva, Maharaja. And through the glance, the living entities come to the material nature. And then, by nature having to they take different types of bodies. Not they, we. That's how we came here. Krishna looked and through Krishna's glance we all came through the medium of Lord Shiva. Therefore Lord Shiva is worshipped as Vrindavan. Lord Shiva is the father of that. And Maharaja Bhuja is the mother. Material which is the mother. And Krishna's glance is the father. Through his glance we all came here. And when we came here, what kind of body we got? First we got a subtle body, we got mind getting from Farsi. Then we got a gross body of body to a subtle body. Perfect body, isn't it? All our body were perfect. But so many activities are going on in this body. But we eat food. I would like to eat food, but what's the whole purpose of food? The food functions in two ways. One is it provides the energy in the body, and the other is it produces body cells. The food that we eat, that becomes the body. So you are very well prepared. The feeling of the truth. And it burns. And that's why now the fuel is, in order to burn, the fuel is actually carbon compounds. Compounds. Right? So when it burns, So a pure devotee is a person who is 100% surrendered to Krishna. A devotee is a person who is surrendered to Krishna. Pure devotee is a person who is completely surrendered to Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Gauranga Hari Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmi Bhagavan Ki Jai. like that doesn't say anything. But then Prabhupada is told me, I have heard that word. Krishna was always with me. And I could say, smile, so humble, but who do I think I'm serving? As if my service to him has any significance or consequence. But here the person whom Krishna is taking care of all the time. So that is such a wonderful realization that Krishna was with Sri Prabhupada all the time. And Prabhupada in his own words, I was never alone. Krishna was always with me. So that is a beautiful thing. Both the good persons follow to Krishna, and Krishna is always with me. Another thing, I was, since I started to say, I was saying, Sri Prabhupada, you see, many of Sri Prabhupada's followers, unfortunately, was not looking at Sri Prabhupada with admiration and appreciation. Often we criticize Sri Prabhupada, like those who are the possible association with Prabhupada. And when the word Prabhupada, the word was started to call him Prabhupada, they raised the big objection. Why are they calling you Prabhupada? So that's why we meet with some of them. So, one day, somebody came and told Sri Prabhupada that some of the godbrothers were criticizing him because he came without stopping at his Guru Maharaja's samadhi. In my book, there is Sri Prabhupada's samadhi. So we criticize what he didn't stop at his Guru Maharaja's samadhi. When they heard that, Prabhupada said, do you think that I am ever separated from my spiritual master? Do you ever think that I am ever separated from my Guru Maharaj? My Guru Maharaj is always with me, and I am always with my Guru Maharaj. So that is a virtue. Those 100% surrender to the spiritual master of Krishna and the spiritual master and Krishna are always with him. They never separate him. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, there's no sound. Sound nahi hai. Hare Krishna. ठीक है, हरे कृष्ण, जय श्री प्रभु, नमो ओम विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण विष्टाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्तिदान स्वामी नमने, नमस्ते सरस्वती देवम गौरवाणी प्रचन्न विशेषेण. So I had few times association in Alachua. I'm from Alachua, Florida, in America, and I have experience of farming. But Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he found out, he said, oh, you have to come to his farm project in Florida. So I said, oh, Maharaj, I am kind of a little busy. He says, oh, Nimitta Matram. Nimitta Matram means you have to become instrument in the hands of Krishna, the serving Srila Prabhupada. And so Maharaj was always encouraging me. By his great humility, he would say, Rishi, this is not for me, this is for Srila Prabhupada, this is for Lord Chaitanya's movement. So Maharaj was always very kind. He would encourage me. He says, whatever facility you need, I will provide you, but I need your help. And of course in Florida I was growing all organic, everything organic, no chemicals. And same thing with irrigation system and everything, So one time Maharaj, he said, so Rishi, what's holding you up? And I said, no Maharaj, I'm coming. So Maharaj was so expert, not pushing, but very, very humble, very kind. He was supremely kind. It's incredible. You devotees, disciples you're very fortunate to have association with Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I had a little bit here, there, but few glimpses, few incidences, and he was always so compassionate. He was saying, Rishi, chalo, come on, let's go, do it. I said, yes, Maharaj. So he gave me one example. He said, scalpel. Is that called, the surgeons, they use scalpel? Yes, so he said, Rishi, scalpel? The scalpel is very expertly used by the surgeon. So you have ability, come and use it. Otherwise, scalpel in the wrong hands, it creates disturbance in the society, So I said, yes. So as I was just ready to go, pack up and move to South Florida, but he was not available, and so I'm very, very sorry. Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he was very, very compassionate, very kind. By his own example, yad achashi shasta tat avataro janaha. He was not just fake, but by example, everyone would follow him. Everyone was drawn to him like a magnet, and I was always moved. And whenever I paid obeisances, he said, no, Rishi, kya hai? He would give me a hug. Of course, I was always shy. I cannot compare myself to Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Bhakti Charu Maharaj is a Mahatma, he's not just an ordinary, empowered. Prithivichyache nagaradigram, sarva prachar hobe. So Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he has been instrument in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. So if we love Bhakti Charu Maharaj, we should make a great endeavor. We should make a solemn promise to help Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj. This will greatly please him. Otherwise, we are falling behind. So I will stop here. Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare.
Thank you for the wonderful association you had in mind and also how to please you. Thank you very much. I would like to invite Mukunda to the room. He's short of time, so please come and share your experiences with us.
Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikayai Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Darbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpaturubhya Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patijanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaja ki. So we're very fortunate to be here in Sri Vrindavan Dham to celebrate the Vyasa Puja of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And as we know, today is the day Prabhupada arrived in America, and His Holiness was very much, of course, very intimate, as I said, dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada and completely dedicated to Prabhupada. And so, on the occasion of his Vyasa Puja, he always made it a point to worship his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and also ask his friends and his disciples to take part in that also. So Srila Prabhupada, he came to Srila Prabhupada towards the end of Prabhupada's manifest life in this world, and Srila Prabhupada immediately recognized him as a great soul. As Prabhupada also appeared in Bengal, so His Holiness Bengal, Bangladesh, and very quickly he gave him first and second initiation, and then also sannyas, and he asked him to translate his books in Bengali, which he also did. I remember when I first came to India, 1980, and then he was staying in Calcutta, and he was having his own place near the Calcutta temple, where he was translating the books of Srila Prabhupada. He had some devotees with him. And as Prabhupada used to say that His Holiness is a gentleman. Of course, usually the Bengalis, they are gentlemen, most of the Bengalis. Most of the Bengalis, not all of them, but especially those who are Vaishnavas. Very gentle, very humble, and His Holiness was very learned and singing very beautifully the bhajans of the previous acharyas. So I had the good fortune of meeting him many times here in Vrindavan, in Mayapur, and His Holiness was preaching all over the world. So he has disciples, not only here in Vrindavan, we have quite a few devotees here who are disciples of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Quite a few of our pujaris are his disciples. In Mayapur he has many disciples. And actually all over the world, in America, in England, in Africa. And so I was born in Switzerland, so I used to go, although I joined here and spent practically all my time here, but for many years before COVID, I was going every summer to Switzerland. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj, almost practically also every year, he was preaching in Switzerland, and he has also disciples there. And there I met him also a few times, and so I had the good fortune of having his association, hearing his classes, and hearing him singing beautifully. And so he was always gentle, smiling. I never saw him angry or upset or morose or sad, always smiling and encouraging devotee and loving a relationship. I'm also just, of course, by Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy, I've given the service of taking care of the deities, so to some extent recognized also by the senior devotees. So many times when we met, and His Holiness also embraced me, so in this way I had the opportunity to have his association and his mercy, and so we are very grateful to the senior devotees of Srila Prabhupada, and especially those who are fully dedicated to Prabhupada, and by their mercy we are able to serve and to advance in our spiritual life. There are many qualities of His Holiness, As we know, it is mentioned in the scriptures, 26 are mentioned. First of all, Kripalu, they are very merciful, and they're doing their devotional service, but then they are trying to help others. They're acting for the benefit of others. They're controlling the mind and the senses. Metabuk, they're eating little, just accepting as much as the body requires. They have controlled their emotions, but most important, Krishnaika Sharanam. They're fully surrendered to Krishna with body, mind, and word. So we can see that the qualities of a Vaishnava were fully manifest in His holiness. So on this auspicious day, we pray for His mercy that we may be able to continue in our devotional service, so we may help to spread Krishna consciousness in some way, in this way satisfying the spiritual master Srila Prabhupada and the Supreme Lord. His Holiness Bhakti Maharaja ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Guru, for highlighting the wonderful qualities of His Holiness. Now I'd like to invite another Mukunda Datta Prabhu. This time it was the brother of His Holiness. Please say a few words. Thank you.
Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karudi Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinitaranam. Vanchakalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. As each year passes, we have a growing number of Vaishnava holidays in ISKCON. Not only the appearance days of the Lord and our predecessor Acharyas, but Srila Prabhupada has made so many new Acharyas. And we also worship and glorify those devotees on their appearance days and disappearance days. Today is a very special day, not only because it's Vyasa Puja of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami, but also today they're celebrating the Vyasa Puja of another god brother, Vaisheshika Prabhu. I will have to leave early because I was also invited to speak via Zoom conference for that program. I think today is also the day that another god brother, Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, disappeared from this world, if I'm not mistaken. So they're all great souls in my mind, and we don't like to make comparisons, but certainly in this assembly I would like to just say a few things about the wonderful qualities that impress all of us and endear all of us to Bhakti Charu Swami. Some of the adjectives that you always hear when anyone talks about Bhakti Charu Swami is gentleman, refined, gentle, pure, compassionate, etc., etc. These qualities were in abundance in his character, and he really manifested this idea that when a person takes to pure devotional service, these kinds of qualities, they naturally come out. And I mean, he had these qualities even before he took to devotional service, but certainly they really shine in the service of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was therefore very fond of him and immediately took care to engage him very carefully. And he was trained in the best association under Srila Prabhupada's personal guidance and those of his senior disciples like Tamal Krishna Goswami and others. Even though, as we heard, he came late, but he really became great also. And it's always a very happy privilege and an honor to be invited to speak on this occasion. And so I feel very unqualified, really, to say too much. On days like today, I always like to hear from the disciples more, but because of the etiquette, we hear from the senior people first. But I'm sure that all of you have so much to say about Bhakti Charu Swami that could benefit me. And I'm sure that all of you have more experience and association with him. I had very limited association, but whatever little association I had with him was very sweet. And it's just, it's bittersweet because we miss him a lot. And anyway, we can remember his example because he was nothing if not exemplary at all times. He was a sterling example of what it means to be Krishna conscious. And we can remember the dedication that he displayed to not only to Srila Prabhupada's service, the service that Prabhupada had given to him, but to the entire society. If there's anyone who deserves the title ISKCON man, it is Bhakti Charu Swami. And these are just a few of the characteristics that really strike us about him and his example and his personality that we respect so much. So conscious of the time, I'll say very little, but I want to just offer my most respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of Bhakti Charu Swami and to the lotus feet of all of his wonderful disciples who embodied so many of the same characteristics that he did. It's really noticeable, it's striking, and that's to all of your credit. So at least I humbly beg for Maharaja's little kripalesha, and also I hope that all of you will be kind upon me, say a few prayers for me, that maybe someday I can become a Vaishnava of his character as well. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Krishna Prasthaya Budle, Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Sunnivari Paschati Desatarine, Panchakalpa Triubrashchaki Pasanupyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. There's an expression that Srila Prabhupada used to use. I already have, that's okay, thank you. I'll just take it off. So. He recommended this with our preaching, particularly here in India. He said to enter like a pin and become a plow. Because if you come to a place and you say, I'm a plow, then there will be resistance. But if you enter like a pin, very small, no one notices you, then afterwards you become a plow. So Bhakti Charu Swami when he entered into Krishna consciousness, very humble, very gentle, all Vaishnav qualities automatically in him before he became associated with ISKCON. And his main quality that I noticed in him was his appreciation for the senior devotees who were helping him. And therefore they helped him a lot. They saw him as so qualified in his capacity to translate Prabhupada's books, in his capacity to be the via medium translator for all of the different Bengali personalities and the devotees who couldn't speak Bengali. He served so many purposes for the senior devotees in assisting Prabhupada in their service. He entered so meekly and humbly just at the time of Prabhupada's last pastimes. And he was right there at every moment. If you read Tamal Krishna Maharaja's diary, he's referred to as Gopinath, because when he was initiated, he was Tota Gopinath? Kirchur Gopinath. Kirchur Gopinath, that's of course the deity in Orissa, and also we have a deity in Toronto, Kirchur Gopinath. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj would simply refer to him as Gopinath until he one day took sannyas, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj got his name wrong. He called him Bhakti Ruchi Swami, but then corrected it the next day, Bhakti Charu Swami. But because of his humility and his amazing capability of serving under, in a very humble situation, the senior devotees, that was how he was able to learn so much. Like Prabhupada says that an intelligent person learns by observing. So he was always there as the cook. And all of the things that Srila Prabhupada said to his senior secretary and the GBCs who came, because he was the cook, he got to hear all of those instructions. And it was like a condensed crash course. Other devotees had been with Prabhupada for 11 years, for 10 years, and within just a span of a few months, Bhakti Charu Swami was able to get the most out of the association of his senior godbrothers and Srila Prabhupada personally. And this was the main lesson that I learned from reading about Bhakti Charu Swami, because Prabhupada informed him very early, you should not have any association with women. So as soon as he began cooking, no women were permitted in the kitchen. We couldn't get any association with him, but observing the way he was able to serve the senior devotees, and afterwards, when Srila Prabhupada did disappear, he continued with his humble service until they decided that he was qualified. He became a plow. And he did so much in Prabhupada's service because he learned with humility how to serve Prabhupada from his senior godbrothers. So this we have to learn. For instance, right now what happened in Ujjain, and it happens every year, he wouldn't have a Vyasa Puja on his behalf. He would glorify Srila Prabhupada and invite all of his godbrothers and godsisters to come and glorify Prabhupada. He knew this art of glorifying Prabhupada in the association of his senior godbrothers. So we have to learn this. Others, they'll have their private Vyasa Puja, no one will be invited, it's such a different mood. So this I take as the essence of what I'm learning, reading about these final pastimes, how he was always present, silently, working hard, but learning the whole time from his senior godbrothers how to serve Prabhupada perfectly. So this is the essence of what we can learn from Bhakti Charu Swami, and how we can make that same, add that to our life, that we learn from our seniors. Prabhupada told me once, learn this art of loving Krishna from your senior God brothers and God sisters. So this is the Vaishnava principle. We learn from our seniors, and that way we learn how to please Srila Prabhupada. By pleasing Srila Prabhupada, we learn how to love Krishna better. And he was the perfect example of that. Learning from his seniors, and in that way he was able to do so much service for Srila Prabhupada to please Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Reminding us how Maharaj entered like a pin and became a plow. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful analogy. I know Dinagundu will just come. Maybe, can I invite Nartaki Mataji would like to come and say a few words? And after that, Radha Vallabha.
I have also one. You can give it next person. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Simati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachayani Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pastatyade Shatamini. Vanchakalpatruvibhyascha Kipasindubhya Ivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki jai. Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. I think the earliest time I met His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was in Mayapur and Vrindavan festivals. And it was, even though, just like Devi Shakti Mataji was saying, he was always seeing the other God brothers as senior and was working under them like that. But we could see that Prabhupada really loved Bhakti Charu Maharaj very much and gave him immediately responsibility, and he became very, constant companion of Srila Prabhupada in these festivals. And then in some later years, he had come also to America, and along with other God brothers from India, that was for us always like a treat, a festival to see Bhakti Charu Maharaj, Lokanath Maharaj, and Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj in our centers. It was always like a big festival. And we could, I personally always appreciated it so much because they brought with them the culture of Vaishnavism and devotion in their Indian way, I should say. Like, we had in the Western countries, we had a Western way of presenting Krishna consciousness, in our way. And I mean, the essence was the same, but the externals like that. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj was so much representing the Bengali culture also. And that really attracted us, through his songs and the way he gave lectures and talked about the dhams, etc. And so we were always very much attracted to him. And he as far as being a wonderful gentleman, I would say, seeing it from the ladies' side also, everyone will admit that he was always attentive and to see in festivals and like I remember when the Ujjain festival, his opening of the temple was there, he was so much attentive that the ladies had what they needed and that they were, happy with everything and asking us how we liked everything. And so we always felt very, very happy to be near him and hear him speak and sing and see his wonderful achievements in presenting Krishna consciousness. And I came later on also once to Ujjain when we were wanting to have a deity of Srila Prabhupada, so the devotees in Bombay were asking me, we needed one deity here for the hospice then. And so I went there, and one of his disciples was, I had heard that Lochan, means Bhakti Charu Maharaj had approached Lord Chandas to, about the Prabhupada Murtis. Now after we all became older, it was difficult for him to continue that service, to make Prabhupada Murtis, and he bought the mold for the Murti from Lochandas Prabhu. And so they started producing their this nice Murtis. And so we have now the Murti here in the hospice. And what else did I want to tell? And of course, he used to come a lot. I was for 22 years after having lived in Vrindavan from 1990 till 1998. Then Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Bombay opened, and so I was invited to come there, and many times His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj would come, and even come for yatras, because him and Radhanath Maharaj had very similar moods, and they were good friends. And I think that quality of that Daivi Shakti was explaining, Radhanath Maharaj also had, that he was very humbly always serving his other god brothers that he considered senior. And I think by Bhakti Charu Maharaj coming to Bombay and seeing the loving relationships between Radhanath Maharaj and himself, his disciples and all the god brothers or god sisters that would also come, were very enriched by that, seeing that loving relationship. So that is my impression, of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, that wonderful relationship that he has with his god brothers and god sisters. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you for highlighting Maharaja's wonderful qualities amongst many. His caring nature and his humility. Now we can invite Deenabandhu Prabhu. Please come and share his few words with us.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dudati Swaparandigam Aradanastranandantai Ridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Vadamujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanjakalpatrubhishta Kripasindu Vevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj 77th Vas Puja Festival Ki Jai! So this morning we heard a very marvelous class about Srila Prabhupada, because this is also the day that Srila Prabhupada arrived in America. And we heard how just like we are warned not to consider an enemy as small, because tiny spark can consume a whole forest like that. And Srila Prabhupada came with a tiny spark of Krishna. He didn't even fly. Now we're flying around like it's like anything. With Prabhupada couldn't even fly. He had to go in a boat. He came. He didn't know anybody. Just he had a letter. Gopal Agarwal. They were having meat in their refrigerator. They were cooking meat in their house. So many things he had to undergo. And Devi Shakti Mataji pointed out that he left India because there he wasn't getting any the response that he wanted. No one was ready to dedicate their life to spreading the movement of Lord Chaitanya. Everybody was anxious to emulate the West. And everybody wanted to go to New York or Los Angeles, someplace, and become a success, get lots of money. He tried even to get someone to give him a child that he could train up to do this work. Nobody was ready. So he left India, a little tiny spark, and he created a forest fire that blazed throughout the entire world. So Bhakti Charu Maharaj, when he joined, he was from a very nice, distinguished Bengali family, very aristocratic Bengali family. This is just what Prabhupada wanted. He was hoping for, that somebody from India would take the mission of Lord Chaitanya seriously and dedicate his life. This is what one of the things we should learn from Bhakti Charu is he was ready to, being educated in the West, he had a wonderful career unfolding in front of him, but he left everything to preach the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So Prabhupada, we can imagine, not just Indian, but he was a Bengali, an aristocratic Bengali. Prabhupada must have been so happy. And he was, everything about him was so wonderful. In fact, he came here to this Ujjain. Although there's part of Krishna Lila there, there's not much. It's sort of off the way, but somehow he built this beautiful temple there. And this place is super, super conservative. The caste Brahmins are very upset by ISKCON because we're showing people what is real spiritual life, what is real Brahman, what is real Sanatan Dharma. And Jane, actually, this is from the every point of view is of our. That's the 0 point of the time. If you're studying Indian astrology, it's a very important place. I don't even. Is there a Gaudiya Math there even? Huh? No, I don't even think there's a Gaudiya Math there. But Maharaj managed to get from the government this nice property, very nice place, very beautiful surroundings, and he built this huge marble temple to Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan and Sanipani Muni. Because this is the place where Krishna went to Gurukul. Now to build a temple, you require Singha-sans, Vyasa-sans, Prabhupada Murtis, all of these things. But Bhakti Charu, as we're hearing, he was so caring, he was thinking that all the temples have the same situation. They need Prabhupada Murtis, they need Vyasa-sans, they need Singha-sans for the deities, So he set up so many operations there so that other devotees, he was caring about other devotees who were spreading the movement of Lord Chaitanya. So he got because that mold of Lochandas is the best. Others are sort of stiff, but Lochan's Murti of Prabhupada is very natural. So he got that mold from Lochandas, my dear godbrother, and he started a factory there. He makes Vyasa-sans and Singha-sans, all these things. And everywhere I go in the world, I see even he got them to make these deities of the whole the Guru Parampara that we keep on our altar. Everywhere I go in the world, I see these wonderful deities. Because this is Maharaja's a caring attitude, that not just for myself, he could easily, there was no problem for him to make get his own murti, get his own Vyasa-sans and Singha-sans, etc. But he was caring about Prabhupada's movement, how to do how other devotees can take advantage of these things. These things are, as days are advancing, things are getting very, very expensive, so the temples very easily, they can get beautiful Vyasa-sans and Singha-sans and murtis of Prabhupada at very, very comfortable prices. This is his wonderful nature that he was seeing, not just for himself, but for others. And we see, I don't want to take too much time because we don't have much time and there's lots of people I'm sure who want to say something. But I'll say it again, I say it every time, but it's so wonderful. Prabhupada named him Bhakti Charu. Charu means lovely. And everything about Maharaj was Charu. His speaking, as we've heard, his speaking was Charu. His singing was Charu. Just like we heard how Prabhupada sat down and started chanting in Tompkins Square Park shortly after arriving in New York. So his singing enchanted everyone in the world. So Charu. His cooking, oh wow. We're hoping that has brushed off on his disciples. There's a nice feast today. So we're hoping that's also in line with Bhakti Charu Maharaj. His cooking, his speaking, his singing, his acting, his mannerisms, everything was Charu. So he's Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So we hope that you are all very, very fortunate to have the shelter of such a wonderful devotee. And this is a wonderful day to remember all of these great qualities of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So, Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for highlighting the Charu qualities of Bhakti Charu Swami. Can we invite Radha Vallabh to come and share his experiences with us? Probably mentioned about Gaudiya Math in Ujjain. In early 1930s, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur visited Ujjain, and he wanted to establish a Gaudiya Math there. Not until Bhakti Charu Swami opened his temple, he fulfilled the wishes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai Maharaj Ji ki jai.
Nothing. After him, can I invite you?
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshunirmiritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale श्रीमते भक्ति चारु स्वामी इति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देशतारिणे गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकातदयालयं कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे। दीनबंधु प्रभु जी बहुत सुंदर बात बताए महाराज श्री के विषय में। आज बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण दिन है। श्री प्रभुपाद जी आज के दिन ही अमेरिका पहुंचे थे और आज ऐसे समझो कि आज के दिन प्रभुपाद जी ने ISKCON की स्थापना किया अमेरिका पहुंच करके। श्री प्रभुपाद जी महाराज की। भक्ति चारू महाराज जी के साथ में कुछ हमारी यादें जुड़ी हुई हैं। भक्ति चारू महाराज जी एक बार वृंदावन में आए थे। उन दिनों में हम दिल्ली रहते थे लेकिन चंडीगढ़ में पहुंचाना था महाराज श्री को। हम समझते हैं कि 80 की बात है। तो महाराज के पास मैं आया एक गाड़ी लेकर के। उन दिनों में ऐसी सब गाड़ियां नहीं थी, फिएट एम्बेसडर चलता था। तो फिएट गाड़ी लेकर के आए। तो महाराज श्री से मैं मिला, प्रणाम किया। तब मेरे को बोले कि गाड़ी चलाते हो? मैं बोला कि जी चलाता हूँ थोड़ा बहुत। अरे थोड़ा बहुत चलाते हो, कैसे चलेंगे हम लोग? लाइसेंस दिखाओ। तो मैंने लाइसेंस दिखाया महाराज को। तो बोले चलो ठीक है चलते हैं। तो वृंदावन से चंडीगढ़ महाराज श्री को पहुंचाया, साथ साथ रहे और बहुत सुंदर सुंदर उन्होंने प्रभुपाद जी के विषय में छोटी छोटी कहानियां बताया प्रभुपाद जी के। मैं ऐसे गाड़ी चला रहा था, महाराज श्री ऐसे सीट में थे और बड़ा ही सौभाग्य की बात था कि आप हम सबको ऐसे संतों का सानिध्य प्राप्त है। उनके सानिध्य में हम लोग रह करके ये सब प्रभुपाद जी के विषय में जानकारी प्राप्त किए। ये लोग प्रभुपाद जी के अनन्य भक्त हैं। प्रभुपाद जी के एक एक शब्दों को इन लोगों ने इतने गंभीरता पूर्वक लिया, इतने गंभीर बने कि पूरे वर्ल्ड में, पूरे संसार में इन लोगों ने हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र को फैलाया। कुछ दिन के बाद, एक साल के बाद 81 में महाराज श्री पुनः फिर चंडीगढ़ में आए। उन दिनों में गुरुकुल था वहाँ पर। मोर देन 100 गुरुकुल के बच्चे रहते थे। महाराज श्री को बहुत अच्छा लगा वहाँ। लगभग 28-30 दिन तक महाराज रुके रहे वहाँ और प्रतिदिन मंगला आरती करना, गुरु पूजा क्लास करना, साथ करना। महाराज श्री का अलग अलग नियम रहता था। हफ्ते में एक दिन महाराज प्रसाद बनाते थे पूरे डिवोटी को। जितने वो डिवोटी रहते थे वो डिवोटियों को ले करके और महाराज प्रसाद बनाते थे। तो हम लोग कहते थे कि महाराज श्री अब आप बैठ जाइए, हम लोग चलाएंगे प्रसाद। बोले नहीं नहीं, मुझे अपने हाथ से खिलाना है। अपने हाथ से खिलाते थे प्रसाद महाराज से। एक दिन संध्या काल का समय था तो महाराज श्री ने कहा कि आज एकादशी है, आओ हम लोग भजन मिलके गाते हैं। तो हमने सब इंतजाम किया, सभी डिवोटी वहाँ आए। तो महाराज श्री को भजन याद था। तो महाराज ने कहा कि बुक्स लाओ, किताब लाओ। तो मैंने बोला कि महाराज श्री आपको याद तो है भजन? तो बोले कि नहीं नहीं, भजन याद हो तभी भी आगे ग्रंथ को रख करके ही पढ़ना चाहिए और देखना चाहिए। ये जीवन में जो आचरण है इन संत महात्माओं का, प्रभुपाद जी के प्रिय भक्त लोग हैं ये सब, तो इनका हमें इनको देख करके सीखना है। महाराज श्री हर हफ्ते के बाद भोजन बनाते थे, वैष्णव लोगों के साथ बैठ करके जाप करते थे और बहुत ही विनम्र हैं महाराज। जब वो बोलते भी थे तो बहुत रायसी से बोलते हैं महाराज। उनका ओठ इत्यादि, आँख इत्यादि ऐसे लगता है कि आपके हृदय में प्रवेश कर रहे हैं, ऐसे महाराज बोलते थे। बहुत विनम्र हैं महाराज श्री, जीवन में बहुत ऑनेस्ट रहे हैं, ऑनेस्ट ब्रह्मचारी रहे हैं। जीवन में ऐसा कोई भी विचार नहीं रहा कि संसार में उनका मन जाए, इसीलिए ये लोग, इनके बड़े बड़े शिष्य लोग भी बना पाए और प्रचार प्रसार कर पाए। आज बहुत शुभ दिन है। मैं भक्ति चारू महाराज जी के पाद पद्मों में विनम्र पूर्वक साष्टांग दंडवत करता हूँ और मैं आशा रखता हूँ कि महाराज श्री सभी भक्त मेरे पर कृपा बना करके रखें। धन्यवाद आप सबका। हरे कृष्ण।
आपने महाराज के गुणों का विवरण दिया और उनके नियमों के बारे में हमें बताया। बहुत धन्यवाद। Can I invite Manch Guru Prabhu? Please come and share his experiences and realizations with Maharaj.
His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his intimate associates, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, he empowered Rupa Goswami to spread the Krishna consciousness, sent them to Vrindavan to establish the whole idea of the Braj Leela. And so I just remember how His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj very quickly received the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. And seeing Maharaj out in Govardhan filming for Abhay Charan, we'd run into Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who was very, very busy glorifying his spiritual master. When devotees would visit Vrindavan, they would ask, how are Rupa and Sanatan doing? Where are they staying? How they're eating? Oh, they're living under a different tree every night, and sometimes sleeping an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes if they're too busy preaching, writing, they forget to sleep. So they were extremely empowered by the Lord to produce transcendental literature for the guidance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission of saving the fallen conditioned souls. So Vyasa Puja, special day remembering Vyasa Dev, how Krishna imparted the Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa Dev, the Guru Parampara. So the Vyasa Dev, Vyasa Puja is honoring Krishna in the form of the Vedic literatures being given by sincere devotees. So Bhakti Charu Maharaj gave beautiful classes, wonderful chanting, very concerned about devotees and their welfare and also their spiritual advancement. So by remembering great, wonderful services of the Vaishnavas, it gives us more enthusiasm and more strength that we should also be busy in the business of promoting the books. Srila Prabhupada's written so many beautiful books, and he's a wonderful personality. Bhakti Charu Maharaj glorified Srila Prabhupada nicely, served his spiritual master nicely. It is a perfection of life to be able to render service and glorify your spiritual master in this way. The whole Guru Parampara is glorified, and we have an example to follow. So on this very special day, let's glorify Bhakti Charu Maharaj and offer our humble obeisances at his lotus feet. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaja ki.
Thank you, Guru, for telling us the perfection of life, serving Guru. Now can we invite His Holiness Janardhan Maharaj to please come and say a few words. While he's coming, maybe I could, Radha Vallabh Prabhu mentioned Chandigarh. There's very nice pastime associated of Maharaj in Chandigarh. I'll kind of say that in a few minutes, maybe later on.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's a very auspicious day for all of us to celebrate Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj's Vyasa Puja Day. With your permission, I have the offering of my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami, for this special occasion. I'm going to read this to you. Dear disciples of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami, today we are celebrating 77th Vyasa Puja anniversary of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami. Bhakti Charu Swami was a very advanced devotee, and we are all missing his physical association. He left the planet on a very auspicious day, Guru Purnima, plus Sanatan Goswami's disappearance day. Maharaj was born in Calcutta, and after finishing his school in India, he went to Germany for higher studies. In Germany, he developed a strong urge to pursue a spiritual life. Maharaj returned to India and continued his search for a transcendental guru. His search took him to ISKCON Temple, Calcutta, where he obtained a copy of Nectar of Devotion. Maharaj was very inspired by Srila Prabhupada, and he finally met Prabhupada at Mayapur in 1976. Maharaj had great fortune in obtaining the first and second initiation from Prabhupada in Mayapur. Due to his hard work and sincerity, he soon became a member of Srila Prabhupada's service team. Prabhupada was very happy to meet this young man, and he asked him to translate books in Bengali and to answer his mail. Maharaj took this assignment very seriously, and by 1995, he had finished translating all Prabhupada's books into Bengali. Bhakti Charu Swami was a humble devotee and a very good preacher. He inspired devotees all over the world to take to Krishna consciousness. Maharaj strongly advocated that we should remain in ISKCON and not deviate from Prabhupada's instructions. He built a beautiful temple at Ujjain in a record time of 10 months. He presented Prabhupada's life in a TV serial called Abhay Charan, which was shown all over India for a year. Scriptures explain that a bona fide guru manifests in two ways, Vapu and Vani. Vapu is temporary, Vani is permanent. Thakur Bhaktivinoda said, "He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die. When thou art living still in sound, the Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread a holy life around." I believe it's holy name. Same. Bhakti Charu Swami encouraged devotees to work together under the ISKCON umbrella. ISKCON is a joint family in which the father, the uncles, and the cousins live together. We have Prabhupada's Vani and Bhakti Charu Swami's Vani to guide us. My humble advice to Maharaja's disciples is to follow Maharaja's instructions. This will give pleasure to Bhakti Charu Swami and enable his disciples to make spiritual advancement. Bhakti Charu Swami Ki Jai, written by Gopal Krishna Goswami. As today is very special, I can feel the presence of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami here. Especially, we're all gathered here in Vrindavan. I remember whenever Maharaj will come, he will give nice seminars, he will lead nice kirtan, especially the Gopi Git and Damodarastakam prayers. My very fond memory of him was that when I took sannyas in the last Ekadasi of 2013, Kartik. And I felt that he gave me so much blessings at that time because he embraced me. I'm not sure if all of his disciples got embraced by your Guru Maharaj. Because that was very special feelings that day. It says that Vyasa Puja Day is a time to rededicate one's life, especially the disciples, towards their Guru Maharaj's instructions. Rededicate in such a way to be more determined, to be more convinced that there is no other process to go back home, back to Godhead, except Krishna consciousness. And at the time of initiation, there was an agreement before, in front of the deities and the Vaishnavas, that the disciples will follow the instructions coming from their Guru Maharaj. And the Guru Maharaj will also make a promise that if they continue following the process, then they'll go back home, back to Godhead. Because at that time, there's still some residue or remnants of karma that the disciples have to work, so that ultimately, by following the instructions coming from Sri Hari Guru and the Vaishnavas, one will surely go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Ki Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, for reading the Krishna Maharaj's offering that highlighted Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj's life and his achievements. And thank you for reminding us how to go back to Godhead by following the instructions of Guru. Can we now invite Shankar Hari Guru, who I believe is in the back, to come and share his realizations? While he's coming, I just want to relate one wonderful story of Maharaj. He himself told us that once there was in Chandigarh, you mentioned Chandigarh. So in that particular timeline,
Continue. It's good.
I'll mention it.
Complete. It's nice to hear complete. Hare Krishna. Jai Bhakti Charu Maharaj Ki Jai. My experience with the Bhakti Charu Maharaj is very limited. But of these limited things, which was very much attracting me, is his smiling face, always in humble mood.
it's very rare to find somebody to be so humble in high position also. And once, I remember some incident, one of the meeting, Maharaja was GBC and all bureau member, and there was an issue about something about Ujjain thing. And the bureau asked him the explanation and all those things. Maharaj very simply accepted his mistake and resigned from bureau. Without any hesitation, with a smiling face, without any bitter feeling, he did it in a moment. It was strange for other members, but anyway, others didn't agree. But the mode he took it, there is no moroseness, no bitterness, and he took it in a very smiling way, very humble way he took it. It's a very strange which you can find with the Vaishnavas. Even though we tell we can accept any situation, reality, when it comes, we all will be affected. But Maharaj never got affected. On several occasions, he did it in a very smiling face. And Maharaj was planning and doing many services to Prabhupada as he thinks fit for best for institution. But sometime in the material laws and rules and regulations, sometime it will get different from what he thinks. He accepted things and corrected. And to the extent, he was working hard to correct all the things. Now recently, all Ujjain property problems got sorted out. And now it is, Prabhu knows very well, he was the first temple president, I think. Yes, he knows all the things. And recently got sorted out. It's all his effort. He very patiently, peacefully handled the matter and brought it to some extent. And whenever some problem comes, he finds the way to present it in a very sattvic way. And he never got agitated. He never got his face tensed up. He was such a smiling face thing. And another things I remember is we was coming to as a GBC chairman, 2018 or 19, I think. Oh, sorry? 18. He made a visit to South. I happened to meet him for all that Bengali devotees meeting at Samadurai. And Maharaj visited temple for some time. I took him to important temples. And I visited the ISKCON temple. I asked Maharaj, please sing us bhajan. Then he was singing that Gajendra Moksha song very nicely and explained within that short time. It was so memorable to all the devotees who were present. And that's the first time I was hearing full explanation also. And Maharaj gave explanation of the song. And that was my last memory I remember. After that, I think one meeting we had it in Ahmedabad. And therefore, in short, I am very much refreshed and got a lot of lessons learned, how to be peaceful in a worst condition also, everything I learned from Maharaj, and how to take the things, everything in a positive way, and with a soft way, sattvic way. That also I learned from Maharaj. Therefore, I thank Bhakti Charu Maharaj very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru, for highlighting Maharaj's wonderful Vaishnava quality and everything, which he epitomized greatly. Can we now invite Ishwar Guru to come and say a few words?
Gurave Gurachandraya, Radhikaya Chadalaye, Krishnaya, Krishna Bhaktaya, Tad Bhaktaya Namo Nama, Vanchakapa Trubhyascha, Kripa Sridhya Bhakcha, Patitanam Pavana Vibhyo, Vaishnava Vibhyo Namo Namaha. Slabati Charu Maharaja ki. So this is a very auspicious day of the appearance of Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Just like there's so many wonderful offerings which have been made for the pleasure of Maharaj. I remember one time in South Africa, Maharaj, he had invited Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj and myself for a lunch, and he personally cooked. And that cooking was, it's a gourmet cooking. It wasn't like ordinary. It wasn't ordinary temple prasad. So just like Dinamadu Prabhu said that the word Charu means wonderful, you know. So everything about him is wonderful. His lecturing, his everything. Very, very dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. And I remember one time, one time he gave a very wonderful lecture in Mayapur. This was in 1996. And it was the appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And he gave us such a very wonderful, meaningful meaning of the pranam of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. The one that says about destroying the Mayavadi. I think it's the fourth line. I kind of forgot it. So Maharaj gave such a wonderful lecture on that verse that day, which actually captivated the whole audience in Mayapur. So, as has been said, the Maharaj, he wasn't an ordinary person. He was very, very dear to Lord Krishna. Actually, as Nautam Das Thakur says, that the appearance and disappearance of great Vaishnavas must always be observed, because that's his anger of bhakti. It's part of the, because when we do that, we actually get a great benefit when we remember the auspicious qualities of great Vaishnava like His Holiness Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So I can only think of all the great qualities that he has. You know, I can only think of that. Wonderful bhajans when they sing. Everyone is. The last time he was in Vrindavan, just before the COVID, he was giving a seminar here at Madhuban Colony on the glories of Srimati Radharani. And every day at the end of the lecture, he will sing so many, many wonderful bhajans every day. So you cannot be thoughtful, be impressed by such singing and dedication and having such a wonderful bath also when he's singing. And of course, his greatest quality, of course, is Srila Prabhupada. Very, very dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. Just like right now in Ujjain, they are celebrating, but instead of glorifying Maharaj made it that every of his Vyasa Puja is for glorification of Srila Prabhupada. I was in Mayapur a few times in Mayapur. For 3 days, we had all the devotees come to glorify Srila Prabhupada. So which means he see that glorification of Prabhupada to be much more important than the glorification of his own self. So he was totally detached from listening to his own personal glorification. He want everyone to glorify Prabhupada, to explain what Prabhupada had done for the whole world. So this Srila Prabhupada's memory festival is always been held in on this appearance day of Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So that's his dedication. And he's very dedicated. He instructed the disciples that they never leave ISKCON, stay in ISKCON. Why? Because ISKCON is meant to, it's a movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And the whole world can be saved through the preaching of the ISKCON movement. So, anyway, thank you very much for listening. Many great devotees are speaking wonderfully. So, it's a great opportunity for us to listen to them. Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaja ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for highlighting Maharaja's dedication to Prabhupada and ISKCON. Now, I think Narva Radhika Mataji is present. She's she's a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami from Ujjain, now settled in Vrindavan for the last 2 years.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, समेत भक्तवृंद की जय। Dear most Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your divine lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories unto your divine lotus feet. Guru Maharaj, it is very difficult for an insignificant person like me to glorify a great personality like yourself. Guru Maharaj, a personality like yourself come to this material world just to save fallen and ignorant souls like me. Whenever I think about you, the first thought which comes in my mind is that if you would not have come to Ujjain, then how much horrible and painful my life could be. Guru Maharaj, still now I can't forget my life, which was full of pains, miseries and darkness before coming to ISKCON. I was always an unfortunate person in my life, but you have created my good fortune. You not only saved me from my hellish life, but also transformed my whole family into devotees. Since then, I have realized the power and potency of a pure devotee who can change everyone's life just by his merciful glance. I was struggling, but the way you saved my life, it's not possible by any ordinary person. Guru Maharaj, you came to Ujjain and brought ISKCON with you, and we have got the golden opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada and Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ji. In response to my prayer to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna sent you in my life. Many times I felt your love and compassion and concern toward us. But now only after becoming a mother, I can truly begin to realize your love. Generally, parents do so much hard work so their child will never have to suffer in future, and he gets all the facilities without too much of struggle in his life. Similarly, like a loving parent, you have done all the hard work by your continuous preaching, traveling around the world, developing devotee communities, building temple, so that neophytes like me don't have to roam here and there, and we can get a blissful spiritual environment and a feel of a real family in one place, which is temple of Sri Krishna. Guru Maharaj, a real Vaishnav is always par dukha dukhi, and you have proved it true by your own example. Guru Maharaj, you have given us everything without asking anything in return. But I remember that in one of your lecture, you said that it is your wish that someday everyone can become a pure devotee of Krishna. Guru Maharaj, before leaving for America on 28 May 2020, during a meeting with my parents, you told them, following are the words of Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj said, Guru Parampara always goes on in this manner, and it never stops. Srila Prabhupada has given me teachings and knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and I have given you the same teachings and knowledge, so this will go on like this. Death is everywhere, and arrival and departures will be always there in this material world. So you practice devotional service very sincerely and preach Krishna consciousness to everyone. I have done a lot, but now I am an old man. Who knows tomorrow I will be here or not? So you should always carry on and preach Krishna consciousness. Now you all have to take care of it. I have built this temple just for you all. Guru Maharaj, that was your last instruction. You clearly gave us hint, but we didn't understand it. Guru Maharaj, because of your causeless mercy, you gave me all the blessings, opportunities, your darshans, services and everything for free, without any cost, although I was not qualified, and still I am not. But now to get your darshans again, I have to become qualified. I have to work hard. Sometimes I follow your instruction, but many times I failed. I know that I don't deserve to be your disciple with my unlimited faults. I am the most unqualified, but still you gave me shelter. I really want to follow all your instruction and don't want to leave this world like a failure.